Hey, what's up, Facebook? It's Jeff. It is Thursday night, which means it's Mastery Chat night, our favorite night of the week. We just finished up an awesome chat, and I've got our moderator here, Matthew Joseph. Matt, man, this was a great chat, dude.
It was
flying,
cruising.
it was fun. People were into it. It was exciting. There was a lot of I love it because there's all these little side conversations going on, and two people have the same experience. So, how are you feeling right now after the chat?
I'm thrilled. I think going in, you never know what to expect, and to see the variety of people from anywhere from New England to California. We had someone from Mexico, and for me, this is a topic very near and dear to my heart, having a book coming out about it, and to see researching it for a year, but then after all that, seeing other people's perspective is I'm still learning about it now, and that is great for me to continue to learn and continue to talk on it and see the importance of this topic.
So let's talk about the topic. So the topic was mentoring. So you do have a book coming out in what, 3 weeks, I believe, right?
3 weeks. Book's going to come out 3 weeks. It's in design editing now. It's kind of crazy.
And the book
you know what that's like.
So all too well. So the book is called?
It's called The Modern Mentor.
The Modern Mentor, and it's coming out with Times 10 Publishing, right?
Yeah, Times 10 Publication, part of the Lead Forward series.
The Lead Forward series. Awesome.
Yeah, so the Times 10 had the Hack Learning series, and they also, that's continuing, but then they have a second series, Lead Forward. And then
that's new. How many books are out with that one right now?
We will be the fourth book. There's actually three. Okay. There's three out already. By Sine Bell went out, Be Excellent on Purpose, Jessica Cabine, Lead with Grace, and one just came out last week, Quiet Kids Count.
Yes.
So it's part of that series, and the big difference between that and Hack Learning is we are telling stories from the field and then strategies to support it, almost like a Twitter chat. And that's why I was really drawn to it.
Yeah, which I know I know that you reached out to your Twitter PLN and around to gather information and stories and stuff like that. So I'm super excited about that.
Absolutely, and you were one of them. Ray is one of them. But I think
I didn't want to give it away. I didn't know what. I just knew that you reached out, which is great.
No, I'll give it away. I think it's awesome. We have over 24 educators who just gave their one or two lines about what they think a modern mentor is, because the book is for us. It's for educators in the field. It's for leaders. It's for teachers. It's for people, because I think that was the piece of really redefining mentoring, and that was part of the chat tonight. It's too often it's thought about a first-year teacher right out of college with a veteran teacher of 20 years, and it's not about that. Just about that. That is one scope of it. We talk about that in the book. We talked about that in the questions, but it's also about peer mentoring. How are you supporting each other in the field, and then mentoring aspiring leaders and sitting leaders, and it's really developing that bond to promote each other in two-way street growth. Yeah,
I love it. So obviously, my question that I typically would ask is, what made you come up with the topic for the chat? But I think you've already explained that, what you were doing here. Right? It's all connected to you. So let me ask you this one. So when you were coming up with the questions for the chat tonight, was there anything particular in your head that you were hoping that the questions would either guide people to or help people discover, or what were you hoping that the participants in the chat tonight were going to take away from it?
I think one of the things that I look for in chats, especially 60-minute chats and Mastery Chat is 60 minutes, it starts to create themes. So within the questions, I wanted to see where the cross-section was. And a few things that jumped out to me when we talked about mentoring was about listening. That was a big one in the first few questions about skills that were needed, is having listening both from the mentee and the mentor. And then kind of in the middle was more about what are actions, and people were really talking about being authentic and being there. There are many other words for it, but being someone who is a support, not just on paper, but is there for each other. And then tail end of it is recognizing that mentors isn't just that assigned person.
Yeah,
it's somebody who's there for you, who it might not be somebody who's in your school even, that somebody has really closed the gap for you from where you are and where you want to be.
Love it. So were there any of the questions that you were particularly either excited to see answers for, or maybe curious to see how people would answer them?
For people who know me, they know I'm quick hit, rapid fire. So I like the one don't and one do, because you could just do this, don't do that, do this, don't that, and it's kind of fun to see that in that format, to just see the things jumping in and out, because some make you laugh, some make you like, think about it a little bit. So I like that question. I also like the last question, because mentors are the reason I'm where I'm at today. So recognizing it, seeing other people recognize it. For me, I didn't get enough time to read it because I was moderating and we were jumping out. So I can't wait to go back and just look at some of the other people who they recognize and why, because it really, what I like about this topic in the book, it brings in an emotional component that somebody has been there for you. And I like to go back and see that.
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite parts of the chats on Thursday night is actually going back after live and like go and find all the answers and everything, all the conversations that I missed because I was into it and stuff. So, so that's one of the fun things. So, so those were excited. The ones you were excited for. It sounds like you got what you were hoping to get out of the answers, and people were in there and stuff like that. Were there any tweets, any answers, any thoughts, any conversations that happened throughout the chat that particularly caught your eye? Maybe either surprised you or excited you or both? There's a lot to think back to.
So there was one that really struck me because we were talking about how to support, and in that question it was about feedback and authenticity and different words. But there was one answer, and I don't have it right off the top of my head, but I replied to it, and they talked about just touching up, using the words. Here's how you can touch up that lesson. Here's how you can touch up that skill. It wasn't that you didn't do it or you don't have it or you missed it or you need improvement. It was just like, you have to touch it up. And I thought that was really well said. And it was definitely what I'm going to use again.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's like our the whole teach better mindset. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's not about you're not doing well. It's just touch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I'm stealing that too.
Yeah, that one struck me for sure. I really like that one.
That's good. I want to throw, I'm going to flip through. I'm trying to remember all the questions. I want to throw one or two at you.
Sure.
And have you kind of give your answer to it, maybe elaborate on it a little bit. So let me think real quick here. Let me go with this one. So what is one unwritten rule a mentor must make a mentee aware of in a school?
So the one I said was a little bit of a joke. Make sure you show your mentor how to use the copy machine so they don't mess that up.
That's important.
But I think because in a lot of communities, there's deep-rooted traditions. Yeah. And they are ones that don't shift very easily, and they're ones that have a very emotional attachment.
Yeah.
So for a new teacher to come in, or even a new administrator, and to not know enough about those traditions, even if it's ones that should maybe move forward, but make your mentee aware of the local traditions that are really near and dear to the heart, because when you come into the school, it's a community. So you're entering a community, and knowing those traditions, I think will help you establish yourself and to get to know the community a little bit better.
Now, in your experience, are those traditions typically like community-related traditions? Are they instructional kind of based or systems, or are they like team rivals? Like what are the
team rivals are some, but definitely some community ones. So some that come to the top of my head, there was a district that I worked in that the side of the school had vines growing up, and they were dirty. They had a lot of bugs in the sense that it wasn't unsafe. But then the new principal was like, oh, why don't we just take these down? And people were like, that was grown after one of our major hurricanes. That grew up. That was like faith for us. Like we can get better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Those are okay. So more of that sort of, hey, like you're here now. This is now your home. You need to understand this. This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what everybody does on a Friday night.
And there's a lot of like park benches and different things that so just to touch them up instead of replace them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just touch them up instead of replace them. I like it. Okay, that's a good one. All right, so let's look at, let's see here. Well, let me ask you this one. So can you share the one do and one don't that you shared in the chat, and then maybe share another do and another don't that you didn't start with?
Sure. I'll elaborate on the one that I did as well. So it was, do listen, don't overtalk. And one of the chapters in the book, and not to self-promote in a sense, but it does dive into this. It talks about be the navigator, not the pilot, and really digging into that the mentor is showing the way for someone to really improve, to operate, and it's not to actually fly the plane or not to actually do it for them. And I think sometimes mentors feel that the mentee has to get everything right. or because it's a reflection on them, but it's actually let them, one of the things I've said is to a few people that I've mentored is, I'll let you fall, but I'm not going to let you fail. And it's okay to fall and get back up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's my do and my don't. I think another one is, do let them see you're human. Don't try to be perfect.
Yeah. Two good ones. Yeah. I like the, I'll let you fall, won't let you fail. I used to always say, I'll let you swallow a little bit of water over it and won't let you drown.
Yeah. It's a similar concept where you want to, let people really walk and make their own mistakes.
Yeah. You got to let them, you got to let the birdies fly a little bit, right? You can't just keep them in the nest. You got to let them fly. You got to let them trip. You got to let them learn how to walk, just like we do with kids. So that's a good one there. So last one from me to ask you here is, what is a must for the first meeting between a mentor and a mentee? And then I'm going to flip it. I'm going to flip it on you. So what is a must for the first meeting?
Okay.
And then what is a must for every meeting after that?
Okay. So a must.
And are they the same? I don't know.
No, not necessarily. So I think a must for the first one is have no paperwork there. Like, do not bring the forms. Do not bring, you have to sign this off. Don't have go in and have a conversation, because you both entered the profession for a reason. And I think having that first meeting be a conversation, and I think having that conversation allows both the mentor to know this person understands where we're at, and the mentee understand, like, okay, I don't have to sign this. I'm not closing on a house. I'm signing a mortgage on my first day, signing all these papers. Yeah. But it's allowing them to build the foundation of, and that's really what the mentorship is, a foundation of relationship and trust.
Yeah.
And then ongoing meetings after that, the critical piece is, one, have a structured schedule, because there's so much happening in a school day that if there's not consistency, that something's going to get missed. And as much as structure sometimes gets a bad rap, having structure creates safety, and having structure creates efficiency. And that's what we're trying to get out of this relationship.
Yeah, and the structure doesn't have to be rigid, and it can be flexible.
No, it can just be, it's every,
having a structure of, like, hey, this is how our meetings are going to go. We do this, and this. That doesn't mean there aren't conversations that lead you around.
Exactly.
But then they know it's that efficiency and that consistency. Yeah, I think, and honestly, like, you as a mentor, like, you potentially might be the only consistent thing in that teacher's life for that month, right? I mean,
absolutely,
based on all the other things that go on. So yeah, that's good stuff. I like that.
Good.
So, so wrapping up, I great chat. Lots of great conversations going on. Super excited about your book coming out.
Awesome. So am I. It's been a while, and been working on it. So it's going to be out there, and people have been seeing about it a lot, and I'm excited to share it, because I'm not only proud for the work that Susie Brooks and I did, but because I think it's going to help and support people in the field. And that's why you wrote your book. That's why we wrote ours. And that's why we're the practitioners in doing this.
Yeah. So let me ask something. I'm gonna ask you live right now on Facebook. So, like, if you say no, you'll sound, I don't know. But then it'll etch it in stone here. When the book comes out, will you come live with me in our private Facebook group? And
absolutely.
Maybe like share a chapter and maybe dive into it and share your viewpoint behind. Can we do something cool like that with your book?
I would definitely do something cool like that. And just like the last time we talked, I will definitely give some away at that chat. As I did for my first book, The Power of Us. So I'll definitely jump in. I'll definitely be hitting you up for that. And I'll definitely be giving some out on that chat. So make sure, if you're not in that private group, get in there.
Get in that group. See, more reasons to get in the group.
Exactly.
Not to mention all the support and collaboration.
Of course, all the great things that the Teach Better team does. Of course.
Yeah, we don't even have to do half it. There's such an amazing.
The crowdsourcing that you must have
is so awesome in there. Like, there's so many times where we go to answer a question and there's like already 14 answers. We're like, I don't think we're even needed here anymore.
That's what
which is the best
answer.
part.
I did that a few times tonight. What he said, what she said. That was perfect.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you can do. So I love it. Excited about that. Matthew's Twitter handle is going across the bottom. If you're not already connected to him, make sure that you do connect it to him.
Yeah, a lot of great people tonight I'm going to connect.
What's Susie's? We got to make sure that everybody tracks down
Simply Susie.
Simply Susie, that's right. You'll see her on Matt's too. So super to get there. Get the book when it comes out. We will see you all next week at the same time, same place, 8 o'clock Eastern time for Mastery Chat. Matthew, really appreciate you, brother.
All right, thank you, man.
Appreciate being connected to you, and appreciate all of you. We will see you next week on Twitter. Have an awesome night.
Have a good night.